November 24th, 2016. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 114 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So, I edit the shows, and I try to take out, I edit out all the ums and you knows as much as I can.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes I have to leave them in.
So I know, not a you know.
And then if there's like a long pause, if we get tongue-tied on somebody's name or a place or something like that. And every once in a while, I will edit out errors. I will actually be listening and thinking, oh my gosh, what we just said is wrong.
Yeah, because we're talking.
Yeah, we're trying to talk and think at the same time, which is that's the problem.
Yeah, which is very hard.
Yeah,
for
and
both of us.
so sometimes I'm able to edit them out, just actually completely take them out. Other times I just let them slide, like, oh well, it's no big deal. Like with your horrible grammar, I always just let that slide.
Yeah.
That I never take out.
But that grammar is part of my charm.
Yeah, you're the color guide. Yeah, there's no question about that.
You're supposed to get everything right. And I think most of these mistakes are yours.
Yeah, I think so too. At the last episode, there were so many mistakes I actually posted on our webpage, a dedicated post just to all the mistakes we made. But here are some of them. First of all, I misspoke. I incorrectly referred to Due for a Win co-host Craig as Greg.
Yeah, see, I couldn't catch that because I don't know.
Well, and I was, it's funny because while I'm editing, it's like, did I just say Greg? Did I? And I'm thinking, can I change that to a C somehow? Can I record it or cut it? And finally, I just
you should have just spliced in Greg. It just won't sound.
You mean Craig?
Sound,
yeah. That's what
whatever.
I thought of that. And then also, when I was talking about Mark Meltzer coming to 360 Vegas Vacation 4, I referred to him as Mark Meltzer from Melts Vegas. Well, Melts Vegas is his Twitter handle. His website is Edge Vegas.
See, now I don't even know what Twitter handle, a website.
Yeah, you have
it's
no
over my
idea.
head,
Right,
so I can't catch those mistakes.
That one was actually... The other thing is, we talked about how Jim from New York... He had contributed quite a bit to our last episode. There are actually two Jims from New York. Yeah, and I thought it was just one person. So there were two.
It's easy to get confused because there really only are two Jims.
As far as I know,
York.
there are only two, and they both happen to listen to our show, which is astounding. Yeah. One of the Jims is the Jim that we met in Atlantic City. He's the one who caught the mistake on the previous episode about 180 degrees versus 90 degrees.
Let's call him Pie Gow Jim.
But yeah, because he helped us with Pie Gow tiles, right? Yeah. And he also sent us the PayPal donation. He made that bet on the Chargers for us. The other Jim from New York is the one that reported that free buy bets were no more at Downtown Grand.
So we'll call him Grand Jim.
Okay, Grand Jim. So
Pie
we got
Gow
Pie Gow Jim
and
Grand Jim. So thanks to both Jims for helping out. Also, on the last episode, I had said that Penn National Gaming owns Hollywood Casino Hamul. Of course, they don't own it. The Hamul Indian Village owns it, and it's managed by Penn National Gaming, right? The tribe actually owns it.
And Penn National Gaming probably gets a large chunk of
Well, and
revenue.
I think they invested in it quite a bit, but they don't technically own it. So,
Well, I don't think they can technically own it because it's on an Indian
exactly.
reservation.
That's right. And then after the fact, we found out a few more things. Now, you had said that Prop C, and it wasn't Prop C, it was Measure C.
Yeah,
I'm being real nitpicky here, all right?
I don't even know the difference between a proposition and a measure.
That's the one that was going to build the new stadium for the Chargers. It only got 43% of the vote. You had said 38% of the vote.
That was
time.
Before the
final results.
All right, so all those mail-in ballots.
I'll give you that one. But the last one I'm going to mention here was yours. I'm going to blame this one on you because now you are going to the National Finals Rodeo,
right?
But it turns out you're going the weekend after the Caesars Great Gift Wrap-Up.
Yeah, you were the one that alerted. I didn't know. I thought it was the same weekend.
I would have assumed so too.
Because originally we had asked for the rodeo is a 2-week thing.
Yes, right.
And we had asked for that first weekend, and there were no tickets.
Yes.
When she called back and said, "Oh, I've got tickets," I'm just, okay, great.
Yeah.
And I just assumed it was for the first weekend, the one we wanted to go to, so we could do both things.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, I find out, no, it's the weekend after.
Yeah.
So it's actually the finals of the rodeo.
Yeah, you're going for the finals of the National
we'll
Finals Rodeo.
See
Yeah,
the champion.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, that's good. But we don't get our gift giveaway.
Yeah, so you're going to miss out
And
on
my
that.
brother, who's going for the gift giveaway, he was counting on us being there because he couldn't get anyone to go to Vegas with him. All of his friends have stuff to do.
Hey, your dad wouldn't go with him?
My dad didn't want to go. He's like, I don't know. It's such a long drive and blah, blah, blah. Because he can just go to Hamul now.
Yeah.
Now that he knows that it's owned by the Indians and not Penn National.
Yeah, that was his reason for not
he was
wanting to go.
pretty pissed
Yeah,
off
he heard
about
our
that.
episode like he does, listens to every episode.
He's never listened to one single word.
Oh,
of this episode.
well, he doesn't own a computer. How would he? How would he even get it? You
Well,
would burn him a CD with it, and he still wouldn't know how to listen to it.
Yeah, but he has listened in the car a couple of times.
Okay,
to
all
bits,
right.
but he can't hear it because he's in the car, so he just hears some garble.
So I'm sure there's going to be tons of errors that show up in this episode that I'm going to have to apologize for afterwards. But it seemed like there were quite a few.
You know what
last
we'll
one.
do
Those are
from
all the
now
ones I
on?
caught, at least.
Seriously, from now on, if we're at a casino anywhere in the United States, okay, I'm going to cut out the foreign casinos.
All right.
But if we're in the United States in a casino and a listener comes up to us and has caught a error on our last
error?
Just any error on our last episode that was posted.
Yeah.
One free well drink for that
Nice.
person.
That's right. From the gun?
Yeah, from the gun.
Beautiful. Wow. You and your well drinks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to buy him a well
You're
drink.
big on that. Great. So listen carefully to every single word.
Yeah, I'm
everybody.
going
It's
out there
worth it.
because at those Indian casinos,
Yeah.
you have to pay for those.
That's
well
right. Oh,
drinks.
you do have to pay for the drinks. At least,
Yeah.
well, I don't know about all Indian casinos, but certainly the ones here in
Let's hear the
California.
ones we go to.
The ones we go to, yes, right. All right, let's move on. So listener Alex was playing in Atlantic City at some casinos that offered 5 times odds on craps, which is pretty common in Atlantic City. But in certain circumstances, they let him bet more than 5 times odds.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, what he was doing, he was playing at what they call a full 5 times odds table.
It's pretty confusing. We've
really
had a
is.
lot of people ask us about this.
And in fact, when we went to Hollywood Casino Hamul,
the one owned by the Indians and not Penn
that's right.
National.
They had full 5 times odds.
Right.
All right. So what does that mean?
If they didn't know they had it, but they did.
That's funny, right? Because one dealer was telling
One
us,
dealer's like,
that's-
oh, yeah, you can take full 5 times odds.
he used to deal in Atlantic City, and he said,
Right.
oh, yeah, here's how it works. And then you had to explain it to another dealer.
The next dealer comes and I put the odds out. No, you're way over. And I'm like, no, you take 5 times full odds.
Yes, sir.
And he's like, no. And you know what was funny is after I said that and I explained it, he didn't ask the pit. Oh, okay. And he just let me
took
do
your
it.
word for
Yeah.
it. It's not like you're a regular. He
I
doesn't know
should
who
have
you
told
are.
him it's 100 times odds here.
Oh yeah, just this week. You know, because they recently opened. Well, all right, let's explain it. So here's how it works. So they will, at a full 5 times odds table, they will let you bet more than 5 times odds, depending on what you have bet on the pass line and what the point is.
Right. There are some restrictions.
That's
for
right.
that.
And it really only comes into play if you're betting a multiple of 3.
Right. Because that's where it gets weird.
Okay, so let's actually talk about some examples. That'll help explain it. So let's say you're betting $30 on the line. That'll keep it easy.
Yeah.
All right, so you've got a $30 pass line bet. If the point is 4 or 10, you can just take 5 times odds, $150.
Right.
That's so there's nothing special about the
that's
4
the
and
5
10.
times.
Yeah. Again, $30 on the line. If your point is 5 or 9, you can bet 200 odds.
Right. Because 150 would not be a correct payout because it's an odd
it would.
number.
No, 150 is even. They can still pay it out.
Oh, that's right. It is even.
Yeah, it has
When
nothing
did they
to do
change
with
that.
It's welcome
It's
to craps.
always been even?
I've been teaching Mike craps the last couple of weeks. He's learning. No, 150 would be fine, but they will let you go to $200 odds on a $30 pass line bet for the 5 and 9. Now, what that works out to be is 6 2/3 times odds. All right, sort of. That's why this is so weird, right?
Right.
All right, now let's talk about the 6 and 8. If you've got $30 on the pass line, they will let you go to $250 odds. Okay, so that works out to be 8 1/3 times odds. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
So again, where is this coming from? We have no idea. And if you don't bet a multiple of 3, let's say you just have $10 out there.
Right.
They'll only let you bet 5 times odds.
So you'd put $50 odds.
Yeah, and so what's weird about that, I mean, what you could say is, well, wait, technically when I'm betting $30, you're letting me go to 8 1/3 times odds on the 6 and 8. So if I have $10 on the line, let me take 80 odds on the 6 and 8.
Right.
Right? No, they won't do that. And I can kind of understand because these odds amounts are strange and they are based on multiples of 3. Here we're talking about 6 2/3 and 8 1/3. It is based on multiples
So
of
if you
3.
bet 25 like I usually do,
Yeah.
you can't take those full odds. You have to go to 30. You can't take the mega odds.
Right. If you just bet 25 like you usually do, you can only go to 5 times odds. And again, this makes no sense to us, and we don't know how it started.
Right.
You know, some high roller was pushing the casino or who knows what.
Right.
But what it comes down to is multiple of 3. Points 4 and 10, it's exactly 5 times odds. Points 5 and 9, you've got 30 out there, you can go 200 odds. Points 6 or 8, you've got 30 out there, you can go to 250.
Yeah, but once again, it only really matters if you're going to get up to like, well, $15.
That's the thing. And I use 30 as an example because it's very simple, but you could bet $15 and still take advantage of it.
Advantage of it. So you have to get 15 on the line. And most people aren't.
Yeah,
right?
you know,
Most
really, if
people
you're at
aren't.
a $5 table, they should let you bet $6 and kind of take advantage of this too,
Yeah,
if you could
right.
explain it to them.
Yeah,
but you know,
boy, good luck with that.
Yeah,
that would be really hard.
and that's what's so strange about this. What they should do here, we're having this big long conversation about this. Just 10 times odds on everything, right?
Yeah.
Then there's no such thing as full 10 times odds. 10 times odds is just 10 times odds.
There you go. Yeah. Well, we should push for that.
All right, yeah, well, let's
change the world. Colin Kaepernick did.
Let's push for that. Did I hear he didn't vote? He wasn't registered to vote?
He wasn't registered to vote.
Yeah, all right.
And today, Scott Hansen from NFL Red Zone is the best. I mean,
really?
I seriously believe that guy should be more than Red Zone. He should be announcing regular football.
He's good.
He is very good.
Because I have DirecTV. I have a different Red Zone.
He's very good,
so.
and he's very sharp.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people around the country would agree with me. Anyway, he said today, Kaepernick went back to pass, and there was a big rush. He scrambled a little bit, decided to run, ran, and got the first down. And Scott Hansen said, there's Colin Kaepernick showing his speed, not being weighed down by that I voted sticker.
Nice.
I mean, and he said it so smooth and so fast. I mean, I didn't even really catch it till I had to rewind it. Not being weighted down by that I voted sticker.
Nice. All right, let's move on to an email that we got from listener Brian. He was asking, hey, what is the difference between antes and blinds in poker? And how come some games use antes and some use blinds?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
That's a great question because we never even thought about that. But really, what is it?
So first, let's actually explain what they are. So antes, I think most people are familiar with. If you played any poker, even going back to playing for pennies, you know, with your
when you're
grandmother
a little
as a kid or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, an ante is a money that you put into the pot that all players have to put into the pot before any cards are dealt. It's a way to already start building a pot, you know, so that there's something to play for.
In the game,
right, exactly. And
so,
blinds, the concept behind blinds is the same way. It's really to prime the pot, to get money in the pot so you actually have something.
Well, I think it keeps people playing because you've already invested some money in that.
Right.
In a 5-card stud game, if you had no money in there, you just look at your card, you'd fold right away.
Yes.
But if you've got a little bit in there, you think, oh, maybe I can make a hand here. Right.
It helps the game develop. It helps prevent just everybody folding to one person and there's no money out of it.
Yeah, it's very boring that way.
So anyway, antes are usually used in stud games like 7-card stud. And in fact, in a casino, everybody antes. And to even increase the pot a little bit more to get it going, in 7-card stud in casinos, whoever has the lowest card showing as that first card, that door card, has to make a forced bet called a bring-in. Yeah. That's usually half the amount of the first betting round. So it's just a way to get money into the pot.
Right.
Now, blinds are used in flop games like Texas Hold'em. And the way that blinds usually work is the person to the left of the dealer puts in what's called a small blind, usually 1/2 of the minimum of the first round of betting.
Correct.
And the person to his left puts in a big blind, which is usually the full amount of the first bet.
Yeah, and everyone subsequent after that has to make at least that amount for a bet.
So what's happening here is the rules are forcing the two players with the worst position in Texas Hold'em, you know, having to act first on every round, forcing them to put money into the pot. So that really primes the pot. Here are people that are in terrible position. They have to have money in there, and that really starts...
It almost, in a way, kind of guarantees if everyone else folds and doesn't have a good hand, you've got those two people with already money invested. So it forces almost that there's going to be...
Yeah, maybe they'll play it out. They may just say, hey, let's chop and let's take our money back.
Right, they can. But, you know, if they have a decent hand, they're going to stay in.
Right. So. Because somebody along the way, again, they have blinds here. Let's say somebody in middle position has 7-6 suited. well, that's a hand he might want to play.
Right.
And if he didn't have to put any money in, of course he's going to play it to see what happens. Right. But since there's already a blind that's actually part of a bet already, then, he is forced to actually put money in the pot.
Well, he has to make a
play.
decision, right? Does he really want to play that hand? Because he's got to put money in.
Now, here's a big difference between the two, right? Blinds are actually wagers in the game that people have to call and or raise or fold to.
Right.
Antes are just money that everybody puts in at the beginning. It's not considered a bet.
Right. It doesn't affect any subsequent betting.
That's right. Again, when you put the antes in, well, nobody has actually made a wager yet. We did talk about the bring-in that they have in casinos. But if you're just playing at your home game, 7-card stud, and you just say, oh, everybody ante, and then you deal it out and you don't force anybody to bring it in. It's like, okay, check. Everybody checks around, they're playing, but at least there's still some money in there. The difference with blinds is you actually have to be calling bets, putting money in there if you want to continue to play.
And I've always thought with antes that they should be big enough that it encourages people to play hands.
Yes.
Because when they're too small, if you're at a home game and you say everyone throwing a nickel or a dime or something, it's just not enough. You need at least a quarter or 50 or $1.
When you have big antes like that, it is smarter to play looser in your game. In other words, to call with more hands because now there is more money in there and, you've already put some in there.
Right.
So the bigger the ante, the looser you should play. That's just kind of, common poker theory.
Well, that encourages more play.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Okay, so another reason that you would use blinds versus antes in games, keep in mind that in 7-card stud, position changes. That is, the first person to act changes in 7-card stud. The first person to act is always the person that shows the best hand.
Correct.
Whereas in Texas Hold'em, you don't see any other players' cards. So the first person to act is always the person to the left of the dealer. Whoever's still in the hand, the first person to the left of the dealer. Right. So that doesn't change. That's another reason you might want to use blinds. Again, we talked about how the small blind and big blind, they're going to have the worst position the whole rest of the game. Whereas if you used blinds in a 7-card stud game, well, position changes. The person who put in blinds, if you use those in a stud game, might not have the worst position the whole rest of the game.
Yeah, probably won't.
So, that's the difference. Now, in some tournaments, both blinds and antes are used. Typically, in Texas Hold'em, you never see antes used in a cash game. But in tournaments, maybe not at the beginning of the tournament, but several levels into a tournament, they will start to introduce antes. Again, to kind of encourage more play. And then people need to be a little looser and play more hands.
Encourages more play. Plus, it drains. If you're short stacked, it drains so that the game actually goes quicker.
Yeah, and
it's a way to make those tournaments not last forever.
Yeah, if you're short stacking, you're putting in not just blinds but also antes every time. You've got to decide when you're going to make your move.
Right, you're basically forcing people to play to get the game going so that the tournament doesn't go on forever.
Right.
Especially, I'm not talking about World Series of Poker, but in a casino where they're having some small tournament.
Yeah.
They have these daily tournaments. They can't have that thing go on for days.
Right, exactly. So I hope we've explained that well. Again, in some games, antes, you just put money in before any cards are dealt. And with blinds, money is posted by usually only 2 players. And those are actually wagers. Those are actually bets that they have to make in the blind that then other players have to call, fold to, or raise.
Yeah, forced bets. I guess the only common thing that antes and blinds have, they're both forced.
Yes, they're both a way to prime the pot.
Yeah, because you're forced to do it. I mean, everyone has to make the ante. 2 people have to make the blinds.
Yes.
Gosh, one of these days we should explain when somebody goes out who was supposed to be a blind.
Yeah,
it gets very complicated.
I don't know if it's worth talking about on the show, to be honest with you. It's
one
you'd
of those have to be a poker player probably to even understand how that works.
And I think other poker podcasts have probably talked about it. And every tournament is different. Some people say, "Oh, we're going to have a dead dealer button," or other games they say the dealer button always has to be on a player. And so every tournament is different. But yeah, usually if somebody was eliminated and they were about to be a blind, then you have to get a little tricky to replace that person. But yeah, I don't know if it's worth talking about on the show.
So now, do you think that antes came first? If we looked back in history,
I'm sure they did.
Like in the Old West, it was antes.
I'm sure they did, only because Texas Hold'em is a much newer game than, say, draw poker or stud, anything like that. So I'm sure. So I didn't look into the origins of where blinds might have come from, and maybe there's no way to tell. So I don't know.
It'd be interesting to know, though, who decided, let's play this game, and we're going to have blinds and not antes.
Yeah, well, they probably, whoever created it, started playing and said, this isn't quite working just with antes. And I don't know. But That would be speculative on my part. Maybe it's out there. I just didn't research it enough.
Yeah.
So.
Well, somebody might know.
Yeah. Oh, somebody might.
Yeah. And we'll probably get a million phone calls because we probably screwed this up.
Yeah, it's probably wrong. If anybody, anything else you have to say about blinds or antes? Yeah. I'm going to be listening to this, editing it to tomorrow, and it's like, oh my gosh, I said the exact wrong thing. I remember once I was explaining, it was one of our casino nights, and I was training dealers on how to deal blackjack. And, I said, so anytime you have a 17, you want to hit, and if you have 16 or lower, you stay. I mean, I said the exact opposite of what they were, and they're looking at me like, really? This is going to be a good game then. Nope, ignore me. All right.
Well, you know what it is with me personally. It's like when you told me about this question, I think that's a great question. Yeah. I think about it for like 8 to 10 seconds. And then on the 11th second, it's like, God, I hope a hard 8 comes up.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that you say,
That's what's going through my head.
Sure, we know how you think. All right. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. All right, let's move on to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Mary.
Hi, Sudin. How are you, sir? This is Mary from Canadian Pharmacy, sir. Follow-up call regarding your medication because we're having a promotion at this time. If you want to call me back, sir, dial a direct line number and ask for my name, Mary. Thank you and have a good day. Bye for now.
Did you make some kind of prescription medication that you...
I don't know. I did get a call from CVS Pharmacy.
Did you? Maybe they decided, let's just call the voicemail hotline for the podcast that he does. Did she listen to the, when the phone answered, did it, hey, thanks for calling you can bet on that voicemail hotline.
She probably just thinks that, one of us needs some medication.
I may call back.
Yeah.
I can
see
always
what it is.
Yeah.
You should see what the medication is first.
Yeah, go ahead and put my order through, Mary. Thanks for calling. Yeah, just send it along. And bill me as usual. However you've always billed me. Just the same billing process.
Just send the bill.
Yeah, that's right.
It depends. I mean, there could be some good medications there, or it could be like anti-diarrheal medication.
Well, I could use that.
Yeah, you could probably use that too.
I'll make the call. All right, here's a real call from Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Marty from Northern California. Hey, just got done listening to last week's show, and you guys mentioned something which is something that I've been doing for a long time, and that's actually betting on top of the odds for the dealers. I try to play at places that have 10 times odds, 100 times odds, and so it's always something that I do. I actually bet on top for them. And the way that I call it is, so let's say I've got 200 in odds on a 9, and, I'll put $30 out there for them, and I'll say, $30 on top are for you, player control. And by calling it player control, that gives you the right then to press them every other time. So if I hit for 200, they hit for 30, I'll take them up to $40 or $50 and take myself to 300. In fact, that's one of the ways that I ended up running the Cromwell down to the Felt there about a month and a half ago, is all that money that we kept pressing up for the dealers all had to be dropped in green. So that's kind of what was the genesis of that whole thing. Second thing that you guys talked about, and I thought it was kind of interesting, is tipping the shooter. I do that a lot. If you get a kid who's, kind of first time out, second time out, and, doesn't really know what to do, is throwing number after number after number, I hate to get them kind of out of the groove and say, hey, you ought to put some odds on that. So a lot of times what I'll do, either I'll bet some hard ways for the shooters, or when they're done, I throw them a couple $100 if they make me a lot of money. I'm just kind of laughing about Dr. Mike talking about the hot bets. So my theory on the hot bets is I bet the hot bet after someone sevens out. I bet the last point. And it's amazing how many times it comes out. So somebody's got a 20-minute roll. They never hit the 8.
See?
So on the come-out roll, I'll bet a 3-way 8 hopping. And if it hits, it kind of covers my inside numbers for the next round. Anyway, just thought it kind of funny that Dr. Mike bets it, and Mark, that you never bet it. But the only time I ever do it is on the come out after a 7 out, and it's amazing how many times it works. Anyway, stupid crap superstition, but it seems to work. Anyway, love the show, guys. I mean, I really, really love the show. And just couldn't make it out to Vimp this year. I was actually there both weekends around Vimp. And now I'm going back for 2 more times before the end of the year. So I'll be out there 3 more times before the end of the year. One of these times I get to shoot dice with you. I think I heard Dr. Mike say he's out there for the great gift wrap-up. I'm going to come in and out in a 24-hour trip just to make sure I can convert all of my gift wrap-up points over to free play. It's actually a pretty good deal that you can do if you're 7 stars. They've kind of got a nice deal for that. So anyway, thanks again, guys. Love the show. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Marty. So yeah, unfortunately, you heard before, Mike's not going to be there for a great gift wrap-up.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize you could actually convert those points into free play as well. If you're 7 stars, huh?
Right. They do have a sign. And actually, if you want gifts, right, you can get gifts. And let's say, you have some extra.
Yeah.
There's a couple of options with your extra. You can get free play with it. So if let's say you have enough and you can get $40 free play, you just have a little bit left, they'll give you free play. You can also, if you have a family member with you, a direct family member, they will let you combine your extra.
Oh, that's nice. So you could do it with your wife, obviously. Could you do it with your brother as well?
I did it with my brother and my dad.
All right.
We all had little bits extra. We combined it and then got a gift card.
Oh, nice.
It's right up there. You can get, give me another gift card to wherever. And so, they let you do that.
That's good, but unfortunately, you're going to miss out on it this year.
You have to actually be there to do that.
Yeah, you can't just do it, God,
I wish you could do it at any Caesars property. Like I could go here to Rincon and say, my gift points, give me free play.
Yeah, but a big part of it is to get you into Las Vegas, right? Didn't you tell me that Caesars dealers have told you that's like their biggest day of the year?
Yeah,
even bigger than like
the biggest
New Year's
weekend of the year is probably for gambling.
For gambling.
For the amount of gambling is that weekend.
Yeah. What do you think of hopping the point that just
I'm telling you all the time. And the longer they have that point and not make it, the more likely it is to come up on the next shooter's come out roll.
All right, just to make it clear, basically what he's saying is, okay, a person has a point of 8. They're trying to roll an 8, 8, 8. It takes forever. They finally 7 out. So what Marty and Dr. Mike are saying is on the next roll, hop the 8. In other words, you bet that an 8's going to come up on the next roll, and then it happens more times than not.
Oh, God. If you could see a bar graph of that, it's just off the charts.
Nope.
Off the charts, Mark.
It's selective memory. All right. It may seem like that happens all the time.
Look,
it's not just in your head.
It's not just me. It's Marty too.
Well, it's funny we haven't talked about this superstition before, though, because that is something everybody says, right? Whenever the next shooter immediately comes out on the same point that the guy before couldn't make, it's like, of course, I knew it.
It's like the time that I told you that after the come out, the next roll is always a horn bet.
It's already a horn
because
number.
I bet the horn number, and then it doesn't come on the come out, it comes to the next roll. And that one night,
we said, let's keep track.
Let's keep track. And at one point, it's like, it happened like 8 times out of 9. Right off the bat. And I'm like, see?
Yep,
see?
I had to confess. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. Yep, 9 times. That's a big enough sample pool to
and that's
make a determination.
There's enough standard deviation there that that's got to be true.
All right. Well, you're going to continue to make that bet, I'm sure, and I'm going to continue to not make that bet, and we'll see how everybody does. All right. Let's hear from Ryan.
What's up, guys? It's Ryan. I wanted to say what's up once again, give you a quick recap of another trip. November 5th, man, I went to check out the Manny Pacquiao fight. You know, he beat a fighter named Jesse Vargas that he was pretty heavily favored against. Pretty good fight. I didn't bet on the fight. A couple of guys I went with did. They couldn't resist from the prop bets. They threw down some money that Manny would get a knockout in between either rounds 7, 8, or 9. I think that paid 10 to 1 or 20 to 1. And then they put another bet down that it would be rounds 10, 11, 12. So basically, Manny can get a finish in the second half of the fight. They just wanted to make it a little more fun to watch. I knew they were kind of throwing their money away, but it wasn't a terrible bet. He ended up winning by decision. Playing craps, we had a free stay at the Gold Coast, which is always just good enough, I guess. I had one good roll, and it was after I had a couple of bad rolls already. Went back to the room, came down solo this time, and I was like, man, I was kind of behind, so I thought I told myself I'm only going to bet the pass line $5, and I'm just going to bag my odds 3, 4, 5, but not mess with the come bets like I normally do. I only put one come bet or 2, and kind of that kept me in the game longer. But when the dice got to me, I had a good about 35 roll, which paid off real well. I did put a couple come bets on that one because I couldn't resist with the dice going so long, but I made the other half of the table a good amount of money. There was one player who was doing something that I don't normally see. He kept hopping all the hard ways, every single roll. So it kind of got everyone kind of throwing a little money in the hard ways here. And one of my points was where we all threw some money in the hard 8, and it came, so it was good. But I got to warn people that a lot of times when you see some people on the table that seem cool, and they're playing a certain way, you kind of almost want to root for them to do certain things that can influence the way that you play. And that's always something to watch out for. That Sunday, we hit the West Gate, which was part of our plan to get there in time to get our bets in earlier for the 10 a.m. games. And we actually did a real good job handicapping, or whatever you want to call it, getting lucky. I think I went 5-2. And there was also a UFC bet that I hit. But you know how it is with sports bets. It's funny, man. You know, when you're on the craps table, you could have all this money on the table at once. But when it comes to sports bets, I always end up kicking myself after the fact, because it's like, hey, you know, well, why would I only put $20 on this, or only $30 on this, or $50 on this, versus one quick roll where, you know, $100, $150 can be gone just like that. So it's kind of weird what goes on, like, mentality-wise with that. You know, a while back, or last time I told you about how I bet the over-unders in the NBA. The Pacers not doing too well for me, but I do want to let people know that if you're kind of a casual sports fan, betting the over-unders is kind of a cool way to give yourself a reason to check the box scores out every day, or just kind of see how the standings are going, you know. I went over on the Lakers. They only won 25 times. They've got 7 already. That's doing good, but I need a little work with the Pacers, and the Jazz got me a little worried. I went over on them. I think they got 47.5, or I went under on them, but they're looking pretty good. But anyway, it's kind of a cool way to follow sports without, you know, a lot of us don't have the time to watch the games all the time. So, you know, we're recreational gamblers. Need a little juice and a little action. I'll talk to you guys soon.
After we got this call from Ryan, Mike, you and I were talking about, he's talking about how, the sports betting,
right.
how, you know, you be at a craps table, say, yeah, give me a $30 8. No, make it a $60 8. Right. And then you're thinking about betting like on a football game. It's like, gosh, should I go $20?
No, I'll go 11.
Yeah, I don't want to go that much, right? And, you know, when you're betting sports, supposedly you're using some information. It's smarter than just making a bet on the craps table where it's just, you know,
you're
random
supposedly having some information. Although I think Ryan kind of answered his own question here, because right before he said that, he said, handicapping or just getting lucky, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. That's right.
So, I mean, are you handicapping or are you just getting lucky?
But isn't it funny? Yeah, I think we're both guilty of this. It's like, you know, we'll throw money down on a blackjack hand or a craps bet somewhere that's much more than when we put on a single, you know, football game or something.
Well, you've had a $600 6 or 8, right? I certainly have way more than that.
And I've never bet $600 on any sporting event.
Not even close. Well, 500 on a Super Bowl. I did bet 500 on a Super Bowl. But,
did you?
I mean, but that's only a couple times.
Okay.
And most of the time, we're betting like $40 or $50 or something.
Well,
at the
hey,
most. 100 at the most.
We were betting on the Breeders' Cup, right? And we were at the craps table, and we were on our way, you know, to the casino. It's like, well, Mike, who should we bet on this race? And it's like, well, how about number 4? Yeah, put $5 to win down on number 4. You know, and I'm entering this on the phone. It's like $5, and we're fascinated by it. Hey, Mikey came in, right? He paid $15.
I got 50 on the line, 7 out.
Yeah, that is funny. It's just all, it doesn't make any sense, but it's just all psychological.
Well, it's a psychological thing, right? And, you know, you and I both, we don't do a lot of sports wagering or horse racing or anything like that. And the reason is because for me, it kind of ruins sports. Like Ryan says, it makes it more interesting, but for me, it doesn't. For me, it makes it turmoil. I love to sit and watch, and I'll pick, you know, I have teams I like and teams I don't like, and I'll root for them. But if you have a team you like and you bet money on the other team, you're like rooting against them. And for me, that kind of ruins it. And sometimes you have to bet on the other team, right? I mean, you know, it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah. Even if maybe your team is favored, but the point spread is so big, you don't want to take them, right? You want them to win, but you don't think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns, right? You're playing a college game or something, right? And something like that.
Yeah.
I think some of it too, and this is just you and me, Mike, is that we're kind of action junkies. We want the result of our bet right away. And, you know, when we're betting on the horses or betting on sports, you know, it's a half hour later, a couple hours later.
I remember once we were in Vegas. I'm pretty sure you were with me. I know Paul was. Anyway, we were in Vegas and the Chargers were playing Baltimore Ravens. And it was back when the Chargers had a decent team. And we were in, I want to say it was Harrah's on the Strip, and we went into the sports book to watch like the second half of that game. And Chargers were favored, and we had bet on them. And I sat there the whole time and saw Baltimore come back and win that game. And there were tons of Baltimore fans around me. Even though, you know, we're in Vegas and San Diego is closer.
You'd think there'd be more San Diego fans,
but it was all Baltimore. And the one guy next to me was so obnoxious. And imagine how crappy that is for me, because the team I love is losing. The guy next to me is betting on them and just being a big, you know what. And the craps table is like, 50 feet away, but I'm watching this game.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, that is like death.
That's
for me.
rough.
I mean, I was so miserable, but I had to stay till the end because it was close enough. Baltimore won at the end anyway. Same old Charger story.
Yeah. Although I do agree with what Ryan's saying with the over-under on wins, especially basketball, where there's so many games. You kind of can watch it and, get excited or
if it's
depressed as the season goes on.
Yeah, we're doing well on our over-under with the Chargers.
All right, well, let's... I know, we talk about it too much. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Kind of a short episode. We're actually recording early this week. We're going to post this on Thanksgiving. So everybody have a great Thanksgiving. Hopefully you stay safe and get together with your family and don't have any too many political arguments after the election.
No politics. Just look, it's Thanksgiving, right? It's family and casino. That's what it boils. You're either at a casino or you're with your family, or in some cases like us, you're at both.
All right. Congratulations. Hey, we want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, Brian and Sarah are good friends for the monthly recurring donation. Thanks very much. Also, Zach for his monthly recurring donation. Thanks very much. Also, a donation from Jesse. He sent us a karma donation for his December 11th through the 14th trip. I think he's just going to miss you, Mike.
Yeah, because we're leaving on the 11th, but like 11:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you're not going to. He's going with family members and a celebrity.
A celebrity?
Yeah.
Who's the celebrity?
Well, I'm not going to say because I don't know if he wants me to say on the podcast, but I'll tell you afterwards.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Also, from our good buddy Ed, he said he had a nice roll at the Caesars Craps table at the Due for a Win meetup. Yeah, those guys got back from Due for a Win. If you haven't already listened to their last episode, they talked about that Danger Arena skill-based gaming. They said it was horrible, and not because it was skill-based. It's just that particular game, the graphics and the gameplay and the response time on the controllers, it just wasn't good.
Wow.
So, thumbs down
that's
to that.
The thing with that kind of stuff, the response time is probably the most critical part of that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the first one out. They probably rushed it to the market. I don't know, but at least Danger Arena, they gave a big thumbs down too. But hopefully we'll get some good skill-based gaming coming up here. So thanks for that donation, Ed. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS. Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We tweet when we're heading to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. All right, Dr. Mike, Thanksgiving, what do you have to say?
Well, I have to say, everyone have a good Thanksgiving, number one. Have a restful Thanksgiving. There are 3 great football games. I think this is the best year ever for the games. Usually, there's one on and it's like, Detroit's playing, I don't know, Cleveland. And you're like, do I want to watch? But these are all good. Detroit's playing Minnesota.
Okay.
They're 1-2 in the division. And it's kind of like a huge game for both teams.
All right, good.
Dallas is playing Washington. And they're the 2 best teams in that division. And that's kind of good. And then in the night, it's Indianapolis against Pittsburgh.
Great.
So, those are good games. And a lot of fans, Pittsburgh fans, Dallas fans, right?
Yeah.
Minnesota Vikings fans.
Yeah, I love having football now all day on during Thanksgiving.
That's a great thing. And then you can be totally rested because shortly after Thanksgiving, it's December 1st, and you've got 1 month to get back to even for the year.
Yeah, good luck to us.
Yeah. So we got to really hit it hard in December.
All right.
Really hard.
All right, thanks for listening.